about is the big news of the day. KARMINE Corp loses in the upper of the double elimination to a team called SA. They lost to this team previously as well, a couple regionals ago in the open qual. And then they go to the lower, and everyone is watching this series while they play top Cougars, and they lose in game 5. So what does this mean? Well, KARMINE Corp's chances for the major have gone down a lot, and now even Worlds might be up in the air a little bit. What is your initial thoughts on this, guys?
I mean, this is insane, man. I mean, I was watching the SA series in uppers, and SA was the team that actually beat them a few regionals ago, and that was crazy in itself. But they made a roster move. They ended up picking up Rizex, right? And they still beat K-Corp again in game 4. I'm like, okay, it's no big deal. They go down to lowers. They play top Cougars. But that was one of the craziest series I've ever watched. It was crazy back and forth. Goes all the way to game 5, and then the daggers thrown in. But I think it was Acro or Acro.
Yeah, Acro. I think Acro missed
that. Dude had like
the
10
open
goals.
net. He had a chance to score.
Yeah, dude, he missed a wide open net, and then someone was there to follow it up. That whole series, man, was so insane. I felt bad because I know you did it as well, Kep, where you're like, guys, I don't normally do this, but we have to watch this series.
So people were, for those that didn't see during live, Chicago was playing during his OG series, and everyone started switching over watching this series because KC losing this is huge. And Chicago, do you want to explain a little bit why this is like pretty fucking bad for them, I guess?
I mean, yeah, when you guys don't qual, what did they get? They get 1 point. So now, and let's be honest, the teams that are going to make top 4 or top 8 are going to be teams like we recognize that already have points. So now this just extends people's lead on KC. So KC already wasn't great. They had a top 8. That's not very good for them. Like, that doesn't put them in the front runners for major. So now when you have Oxygen, BDS, Gentlemates, Vitality just all gaining points on you, even other teams like Williams Resolve, I think, it just puts them in now it puts them in a world where they have to win, and they have to rely on other people as well, I believe, to fuck up. So they kind of lost control of their own season right there.
I mean, so what? So you're saying since they missed the event, they probably have to win the next event, qualify for it first, focus on qualifying it first, but then probably win it, right? You said?
Well, they're for sure gonna have to win it, most likely. Yeah. I mean, think of LG, bro. LG is 2 9th through 12s, and they, bro. I think for them to make it, they have to win the regional and other shit. That's even worse and Vitality is even worse, So it's really rough.
So this brought up some people talking about the format and issues with it, and this clip got clipped out. The VOD hasn't been posted, so I can't see the full thing, but let's have a look at this clip of what Johnny said about it.
This is the truth. KC don't deserve it, and the format is bad, okay? Both things can be true. And the fact that you guys think this is copium, it shows your incapability of understanding that it is possible to both criticize the format and a team at the same time. You guys have to understand, this isn't copium.
So it sounds like a little bit of copium coming out, right? But definitely you can talk about the, I guess you could talk about the format, because then you have Rizzo tweeting out, I feel like it's necessary to say again, no stability for orgs/teams is a huge negative to the scene. So now I'm gonna weigh in on this a little bit quick. I think as a player, I like how teams have to go through, I don't think a team like KC, who's a top 4 team in the world in everyone's eyes, or they should be every event, should be losing to teams in EU who are getting 14 through 18 average placements, right? Or whatever it is, 10 through 20, whatever it is. I don't think a team like that should lose, but I don't know. I don't know if it's more, I can see what Rizzo's saying, because he's saying a lot of the viewership's going to be gone now. An org like KC needs to be in the events and stuff. But I mean, where do we go from here with this? Is it the format? Where do you blame?
So I agree with everyone that says, there's no excuse for KC, right? They should be winning these games. And I completely agree. They should be winning these games. But I said something on Twitter, I've talked about it before, and I'm going to say it again here, is in this scenario, I believe top Cougars, SA, and K-Corp all should be in the regional. I think they're all top 16 teams in Europe. And I think what we had in the past of having Swiss kind of allows most of those top 16 teams to actually get in. I mean, we see it in NA, we see it in EU, where we'll have two teams that like people kind of consider not that good that kind of fight in. Like, all due respect, Regional 1 for NA, it was Cold versus Talk, T-Corel, and T-Var. Yep. And then there was like Dig versus Shopify or something like that, right? Or Dig versus Energy, right? Yes, that happened because Dig lost. But we can all agree that Dig is a top 16 team, and Dig is most likely better than Cold, who ended up making that regional instead of them, right?
Yeah.
If Swiss happens, you have 3 chances, which allows, even though Dig gets upset, which they should never be upset there, they get a wake-up call, they get extra chances, and we get everyone in the regional that is most likely the best 16 teams. If this was Swiss here, K-Corp somehow loses too, they're not going to lose in that 5th series. Johnny's right. The format's not great, and KC probably don't deserve to, they lost, right? No excuse there. But I don't think, you're not going to sit here and tell me that K-Corp's not a top 16 team, right? And that's completely ignoring what Rizzo was talking about, how this is horrible for stability of orgs and viewership. K-Corp, Kometo's watch party had more views than the RLCS series going on at the time. We need K-Corp in these regionals. There should be some sort of security with there, whether it's Swiss, whether it's top 8 teams getting invited again. I think there's so many changes that could or should be made. I could probably make a 15-minute video talking about them, but I'm going to let you guys discuss them a little bit because I've already talked a lot.
Reed, you give your thoughts on it.
I kind of agree with Johnny. I think it's both sides. I mean, I think that, first of all, I think the rule should be, and this should have been put in from the first regional, top 8 in points is auto-called in the regional. I think that's fair. If you make top 8, you deserve that. And then with that, double elim becomes a lot easier because you don't have to play a top 8 team in your first match, potentially. So you only have to play 2, maybe bubble teams to get in, which you shouldn't be losing if you're KC. But at the same time, so I think the format should be changed that way. But also, I mean, I don't really have an excuse for KC. Like, they should be, I mean, I understand bad days happen, but that's really tough to defend. Like, when you're a powerhouse and a #1 contender team in the world, a lot of people consider that. I think that's really tough to defend. And
So
I think they should be winning that.
So for me, I'm kind of gonna disagree with you, Flitz, a little bit. Like I see it like from an open. I get it, right? You want the biggest teams and you want the most popularity and you want the views to be times 10 than what they probably are going to be now. And trust me, as a streamer, you want that because it brings in more views when K-Corp stream, when I do these watch party stuff. But at the same time, like, dude, you're losing to 2 fucking teams that you are expected to beat minimum 3-1. Like, you're having an off day. All the players are tweeting, terrible day. We put in the work. We played terrible, but I get it, right? You want to see your biggest teams get in, but I don't think that'll ever happen until franchising, right?
I don't know, man. See, here's what I personally think, right? I wasn't going to completely go into this. I'm going to try and sum this up as much as I can. I think that there should be kind of, maybe not like franchising, maybe like partial franchising, where you have like, maybe not 8, but a select number of teams get invited, and then the rest are open qual. I don't think it should ever be like, I think all open is okay, but it should never be all invited. I think open qual is such a beautiful thing that RocketLeague has, and I know that Shice has publicly said that they don't want to ever get rid of that, and I hope they never do. But I don't know. I mean, I get what you mean, and I completely agree that K-Corp shouldn't lose, but that's not like what I'm saying, right? Even though they did end up losing, I don't know. I think Swiss was a great method of what they've had. It's something that they've worked with in the past, and it's something that they still use for these regionals. I don't know why they got rid of it in the qualifier format. We see how brutal double elim is, right? And yes, K-Corp, the thing is with this argument, right, of like teams losing to teams they shouldn't have, it's very obvious here because K-Corp's pretty much the #1 seed almost in EU, right? Maybe not my team specifically, but there are teams that I think are top 16 teams that will play 2 teams that just they have no chance of beating, but that they shouldn't have to play to qual, right? I'm going to use me as an example. I played Shopify into Moist while someone else played Melodic to qual, right? I'm going to be honest, that's kind of wild, right? Cam played OG into Shopify as well in another regional. I think Cam's a great player. I thought his team at the time, it was Netherland America, but instead of Justice, it was Cam. That team was also a top 16 team at the time, right? So that's a lot harder to see because they're lower down the tier. I think this is an extreme example of what I said because K-Corp is obviously the #1 seed. But I think what I say still stands in the sense of Swiss will allow the best of the best. Yes, some people will miss, but it's going to be a lot less likely, and you're going to have a lot better chances to actually get those top 16 teams instead of getting absolutely screwed on bracket.
What happens when we switch to that, and then KC loses 1 more series next time?
If KC cannot get through with 3 chances, they should never have been in that spot in the first place. The fact that we're even talking about this now is ridiculous, right? This is not the KC that we're normally seeing. I don't think we'll ever see this KC again. This is easily the lowest point in Vatira's career. He went from, 26 straight series in Champ Sunday to missing Champ Sunday, now not even making the regional. If you think this will ever happen again in Vatira's career, you're crazy, man. That's what I think.
Kago, as a player, would you rather play Swiss or would you rather have like locked spots, or are you chill with it?
I mean, Swiss is definitely the most fair, but that's a long day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think top eight points of the season auto get into the regional, and then you go double limb from there, because that, again, like I said, the double limbs turned a lot easier from what they are now. But Swiss is the most fair. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just it's a shitty situation.
The final thing I'm going to say about Swiss is if they do Swiss, I don't know how they would do it right now. I think they would have to have some sort of invited teams or two different Swisses that like merge into one. Because right now with everything being open, I think there's just too many teams to actually do a valid Swiss. I could be wrong on that. But I think that is one thing that you would have to consider if you go that route again.
Yeah, so I think what you could do is, to like sum it up real quick, is I think the first event should be open to everybody. And then after that, once we see how the first RLCS goes, some teams should be secured a bit by the points they got from that result. So let's say a new team, let's say K-Corp shits the bed in the very first event. They should not have a lock for the next event. I think the team that proved it should have a lock for that following event.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way you could go. But also at the same time, I also think it's bullshit. How I think if G2 lost, I think Johnny would probably be shitting on G2, this and that. And I also think people wouldn't be saying what they're saying the same. Is that a crazy take?
I mean, I can get behind that. I think one thing that I think, like, not recency bias, but like rewarding off that recency, like, you know, like you said, like if K-Corp missed, you know, they shouldn't just auto get invited. I like that. I think that was one problem. I think it was 2 seasons ago. I remember I think it was when I was on All Mid. We made 3 regionals in a row where it was like Shopify and Xset. I don't know if you were on that team, Kep, but it was Shopify and Xset that both like missed like 3 regionals in a row, but they were still seated above us just because they went insane in the first split. And this was 3rd split at this point, and we did way better than them in those 3 events, but they were still above us. I don't remember if you were on that team.
I mean, I probably not. I definitely made it.
I do remember getting salty as fuck because Shopify had missed like 4 regionals in a row and they were still getting invited to, and we weren't. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I do like your idea of rewarding that recency.
All right, let's move into our next topic. Flitz, where do you think we should go from here? Because you gave some good ideas.
I think we should just hop into what we missed on Saturday since we didn't do a quick chat then.
All right, let's do it. So let me pull up NA. And so on wrong thing. Pulled up. Oh, also there was a chick that made RLCS, right?
Yeah. Limbs on, what was their team name? It was La something. It's a Spanish name.
Which that's pretty insane because there's only been prior to that what, Karma?
Yeah, La Masia. I hope I said that right. I think that means farmhouse.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, congrats to Limbs. That's actually such a big deal. First time in the open circuit. I mean, Karma was running the game for a while. And now Limbs gets her shot at a main event. So big shout out to everyone on that team and shout out to Limbs.
Yeah. All right, let's get into, I guess we'll jump in. We'll just highlight Saturday. We're going to focus on today's games, guys. But Chicago, you played yesterday against Dignitas, and you guys had a thriller series. They were playing pretty good. I mean, we all predicted you guys to win, but they played y'all pretty close.
Yeah, they were playing well, but I mean, I don't know how to say this without being cringe. Like, I know, trust me, I hear people say it, but like, and I cringe, so I understand people that do. But like, it was, we were not like the team that we like have been that day, and I don't think that goes to 7 if we are like, if we didn't hit that little like bump, because it wasn't as clean. Like everything was off. Like individually, I think we weren't as connected and as a team. But you know, now we've raised our floor. The chemistry we've built has helped us win these series that before we might lose.
Yeah.
And it was a rough series. But you know, a dub is a dub. You got to do what you got to do.
I mean, the good teams pull out the close dubs. So you guys seem to have recently been icing up on the close series. You got to win like teams like that. So
yeah, exactly.
So I mean, you guys did a good job.
I think at the end of the day, too, like, even if you guys played sloppy, a dub is a dub, and this allowed you guys to go into the next round.
Then we had Gen G taking on OG. And Flitz, I'll let you take over this one because this surprised me, and I think a lot of people did not have this happening.
You know, this was actually the one series that I really was able to fully capture. For those who don't know, I was out spending Mother's Day with my family yesterday instead of today. But I did notice one thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, and it was Game 5. Yep. I believe it was on
the OT goal.
Aquadome. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the DC, right? Because I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was Chronic started to drive at the ball, and he got alt tabbed or DC, whatever happened. And they ended up reverting the goal that OG,
right here,
that OG had. So I kind of want to know what your guys' thoughts on this was, because I know a lot of people were, at least I saw in the chat, a lot of people were like, "Whoa, this is crazy! I can't believe they called this back."
Reed, it's a straight up DC in my eyes. I mean, I don't think he had a clear hit right here, and then he just leaves past it, and then just starts boosting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely that's blatantly a DC.
Yeah,
it's blatantly a DC.
So, I mean that they DC, so they give him that, they take that goal back, but it doesn't really end up mattering because OG come back, and then in OT they win off. And I felt like for this series, for me, I know we're not going to go into detail about every series, but this one right here was a shocking one, and they get a goal off a Chronic. You know, a couple of individual mistakes came out this series. I felt like Appjack was quiet this series. First Killer was quiet. They didn't have their passing plays coming out. But also at the same time, I don't want to knock OG because every time a team like loses that's favored, we always like say, oh, it's this team playing terrible. I thought OG played great, and I thought JNaps was playing some of the best fucking Rocket League I've seen in years from that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up winning 4-2. They move on to the semis, and that pairs up for SSG versus OG. But before that, Reed, we see Cloud9 taking down M80. M80 loses 5 times now in a row once they hit the quarterfinals. And, I mean, is it a surprise at this point?
It's a mental block at this point. You can't call it anything else. Like, they were the better team. Even though those next 2 games, game 1, whatever, you get some jitters out, whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, but games 2, they win 3-1 and 7-0. And that was like the M80 and Swiss. But then they're like, oh, shit, we're actually playing well. And then something just switches those rest of those games, and it was bad. Like, they literally were 2 different teams in the series.
Yeah, I think Cloud, I do think it's something with them mentally. But this Cloud9 team, they found some groove. Ever since they got signed, they made that top 8 with Omelet. And then before the little sprint break comes around, they get picked up by Cloud9 around that time. And they've just been on it here. They made a top 4 after beating M80. They made a top 8 in the last regional. And they have a chance at legit making the major now. They're in a good spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy first I want to talk about M80 has played 5 different teams in playoffs, no rematches, and they've lost 5 different times. I think that's a nuts stat. But second of all, Cloud9 have put themselves in a great spot. And they almost beat Gen G, which we'll obviously, or G2, which we'll obviously talk about later, but they have really surprised me this split. I think Gibbs said most pros had that team ranked around 11th, but right now, I mean, they're fighting very hard for that last major spot, and I'm very curious to see what they're going to do heading into this last regional.
All right, moving on to our last series of yesterday. G2 gets some of the games were close, but it was like, it didn't really feel like it at the same time. It felt like G2 were going to win the whole way out. They 4-0 it, and from my eyes, I don't know what's up with this Shopify team. It's like one series they look decent. The next series, it doesn't look like the same team. The next series, players are having missed touches, bad reads. It looks like there's no confidence. It doesn't even look like a team. It looks like a solo queue team. And I mean, I'm going to say it straight up. This team's been disappointing all damn season. Before the season, I was hyped for this team. I thought they were one of the favorites to make every major. And we just have not gotten any of that out of them.
Mm-hmm. I actually thought this wasn't a bad series out of Shopify. They got the lead in the first 3 games, and then a lot of mistakes happened, and that's like kind of their downfall is like the big moments they can't really clutch up.
Yeah.
But I actually they were making good plays. Justin and Two-Piece were connecting on offense because I remember watching this series, and
there was a couple passing plays.
Yeah. But the last game was rough. They kind of they were getting freestyled on, but yeah, I don't know. I actually thought they didn't look bad. They just played a G2 team. But at the same time, they didn't really show out and show like who they could be. Like that would have been a statement. if they take the leads and they hold on to them, or they make it a closer series. So it kind of like does revert a lot of hope you might have for them, because a 4-0 is like not, no matter how a 4-0 goes, it's still not a very good series, usually. 90% of the time.
Yeah. I think I see, like, someone in chat said probably good offense, bad defense. I thought there was a lot. I remember a couple of missed touches. I remember in one of the overtimes, I think Justin whiffed an aerial and it led straight to a goal, excuse me. But yeah, there were some close. It did feel like they had to lead. Shopify had to lead a couple of these games. And then it kind of, I mean, G2 were making mistakes, but it's like you can't make mistakes. When G2 is giving you goals and giving you lead opportunities, you can't lose those type of games against those type of teams. But let's jump into today's matches, where the first series of the day, we had G2 going to game 7, where they go down 3-1 the series, and this Cloud9 team comes out fucking swinging. I mean, Lion Blaze is making great plays, Percy's doing great, Zanil's doing good. Last time these teams played, it also went to game 7, and I think G2 were down 2-0 in game 7 and came back. What is it with this Cloud9 team, Flitz, that like gives them these close series with G2?
I mean, I think this matchup specifically, I think we've seen it twice now. It's always a good matchup because statistically speaking, G2 have the best offense and Cloud9 have the best defense. I swear every time I watch Percy, he gets 6 saves a game, and G2 just obviously are probably the 3 best individual players on one team. And this entire series, I think game 2, there was an insanely close call right before the OT of like the ball's just sitting on the goal line and G2's not able to put it in. And you see that happen all the time with this roster. And I thought Cloud9 really was going to pull away with this. They get a 3-1 lead. They're playing super solid. Their defense is as good as ever. And G2 just can't seem to break through. But eventually we see the G2 that, you know, we're kind of used to seeing, where they start to score. Cloud9 slowly starts to fall apart, and G2 end up pulling ahead. But I think one thing that really, like, they're just such perfect counters for each other, in my opinion, especially with how both their play styles interact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, bro. This Cloud9 team is like kind of deadly. They play like such a hard style to play against. It's so weird because it's so defensive, but it's so just their offense is so random. Like it's like they don't really have the same attack or the same plan of attack every time. And but at the same time, I'm gonna be real, because we were watching the series.
Mm-hmm.
G2 was not really getting good touches. I felt like kind of all of NA was kind of like not individually as great as like normal. Like, but a lot of their plays, I think Atomic was like the biggest MVP, probably one of his best series of the season.
Yeah, he had a great
like,
game 7.
Yeah, Daniel, like Beast Mode was good, and Daniel was like, Daniel wasn't having a great series, I'm gonna be honest. Like, but he's still gonna be like a very good player.
Yeah.
But when you expect that, like when they get so much space, because Cloud9's gonna play defensive, you're gonna get the ball. You're going to expect G2 to have a lot more pressure and just a lot more threats, but their touches, just, they weren't that great, but Atomic kind of they had a great game 6. He had a great pass in OT, and then game 7, yeah, he kind of just went insane.
Hey, Flitz, let's close the fucking essay we're typing.
Sorry,
and the porn we're downloading, because I'm about to lose my shit.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Can you hear
Yeah,
that?
bro, I feel like I'm about to lose my shit.
I DM'd you saying like,
my bad.
I mean, we're working. He's working on the side chat. This is the quick chat.
I'm writing an essay on Kep in Chicago and whether the 2 greatest co-hosts of all time. So
I appreciate that.
My bad.
You're good.
I lost train of thought because that fucking keyboard. To be honest, I don't even know what the fuck we were talking about.
No, you should have said something to it, bro. My bad. All right,
sorry, fellas. This is just the quick chat.
Welcome to the quick chat.
But yeah, I think Cloud9 overall, they're starting to become legit. Do you think, Reed, that this team makes the major?
Yeah. Can you pull up the rankings? Dude, I don't even know.
Yeah, I want to see that
tough.
too.
I want to see the rankings because
where do you go that you just pull up rankings and then it's
it's just rankings and then like it's gonna be annoying, but major 2 or
and then North America?
Yeah, NA. And it'll be like
holy, bro.
I don't know.
What the fuck?
You had it.
North America.
Did you not?
Oh my god, you're struggling.
Sorry, fellas.
Go
Give me a minute.
Rankings?
I'm already on it. NA rankings, right?
Yeah. NA rankings?
Sorry, chat. Major 2?
Yeah, the major 2.
Sorry, fellas, running a one-man show over here.
Okay.
Welcome to the
appreciate it. All right, so the rankings, just keep it on there.
Yep.
I mean, G2's in. I think Gen G's in. I wouldn't put us as safe as G2 Gen G just because their like resume is stronger than ours.
But you're in a great spot.
But we put ourselves in a great spot, and that's all we can ask for. but it's still up to us to like, lock in and clutch up this third regional. Like we're not going to get complacent. If anything, like we want to win a regional. Especially we want to beat G2 or Gen G. Like we got the god bracket. Like I can't lie. So us getting like falling for the majors, obviously the goal, and then getting a G2 Gen G win and or a regional win is just a huge boost of confidence going into it. But besides that, bro, I mean, Snowman, OG, Cloud9 are the clear 3 favorites. They are kind of outplaying each other. Like between Cloud9 and OG, this is where you just got to see like who do you think like clutches up. Yeah. And honestly, I like OG's chances probably the most.
Yeah, they got the experience.
I like the experience. Like I like Foreman at the helm. JNaps was playing like insane Rocket League. Tom and Nolly are both like they're gonna do their job. Cloud9, this is not a spot they've really been. I think Lion Blaze was in a major contention once, and they
on M8 with Percy.
They didn't. I think it was but that was another one with Ghost too. That they like rode the London because they got a top 4 and they're like all 3 rode the London and they choked the rest of the split. So yeah, like prior history, I'm gonna go OG, but like at the same time, like who knows? Snowman's still around. One of those teams with 16 points. They like does M80 finally get a top 4? And then the conversation, like depending on how OG and Cloud9 do, like everything's more interesting. Like what we should all hope happens is we see quarterfinals that determine majors. That is the most hype Rocket League you can get online, and it becomes so much more intense. It literally like it doesn't even the regional win doesn't even matter at that point. It's like, okay, this is for the major. Who gives a fuck who wins for the regional? Let's see these 2 teams battle for their major life. Like basically the rest of their season.
Yeah, next,
it's gonna be fun.
Next regional is probably gonna be the most. It's always when it comes down to those last regionals, they are so fun to watch. I think the biggest shock on here to me is deleted. What do y'all think?
I just can't believe that Incorrect only has 2 points to split. Pretty crazy.
Okay, so we're talking.
Unfortunate quote. Nah, no, but okay, no bullshit though. I did want to say this, right? Chicago said like, G2 and Gen G are locked. Didn't quite put Space Station at lock. I'm gonna say it for you, Kago. You're at the same points as Gen G, brother. Do your job. You got this major.
Be confident, kid.
But here's the thing, right?
But like I don't like jinxing. Like I'm very
100%.
Keep it humble. Keep it humble.
But statistically speaking, man, you are right there.
I appreciate that.
So keep this shit up, baby. But what I'm gonna say is right. Like we're talking about Cloud9 and OG because obviously they're tied. But I mean, if Snowman M80, Shopify, and like this one's not as much. But if Lumen and TSM get a really good result, like a top 2, they could we've seen Lumen get a top 2 before, right? They did it last split. If they do something like that again, they could even sneak into this major. Do I think it's likely? Probably not, right? But a team like Shopify, M80, and Snowman, who are at 16 and 18 points, they get a top 4. They're just right back with Cloud9 and OG. I think they could force some sort of tiebreakers in some certain scenarios. I really don't know who I'm going to give that 4th spot to, though. It's very tough, man. It's such a close race because, I mean, we saw Snowman, like, if Snowman could go back to their top 4 form and they get another top 4, they could very much take that spot right under Cloud9 or OG's feet. It very much depends on how bracket play out. But, yeah, I think right now, if I had to pick, I'd probably go OG. I actually really liked. I liked how I saw against Gen G, and then I thought they did pretty good against SSG. Obviously, SSG was a better team, but
all right, let's.
It's a close race.
Let's reel back in a bit. We got off topic for a second. Sorry about that, fellas. I probably shouldn't ask that yet, but we got SSG versus OG, and yeah, man. I mean, there's no reason not to start with you, Chicago. This series was. I mean, honestly, I got sidetracked because the KC series. So you just tell us what you thought about this series.
That was just one game. It's all good.
It's all good, right? We make finals. No one gives a fuck.
Yep.
Shout out KC. Yeah, I don't know. Again, like this is, individually, this is like I play like I felt like shit this weekend, and like it just goes to show that like. You don't need individually to be on point every weekend. If you have a good floor as a team and you know what each other are doing and how to play, it's really good. But, I mean, G2, again, we pulled out wins we needed to. We gritted them out. We made some mistakes. They pulled out some wins. It was a back and forth series. And then G2 last 2 games, kind of like Cloud9, they made some adjustments that clearly we kind of didn't adjust to. And they were better at the end. But, again, I'm like super proud of how we performed. And I think we all kind of agreed that individually we could be way better for the next regional. So yeah, it's just every regional we're trying to get better every day. We're trying to improve as a team. Because at the end of the day, when you get to those majors, no one talks about who won the regionals. Like no one gives a fuck. It's just about that tournament then, and how you did, like, and who's gonna do well. So the goal is to obviously make the major, and then who gives a fuck about the regionals, and then after that, Worlds is no one cares about. Once you get the Worlds, no one cares about the majors, right?
Yeah.
So it sucks to lose, but at the same time, this isn't the end goal. Like that, we weren't trying to win regional 2. Obviously, it would have been nice, but we're like our goals are bigger in our heads. That's like international competition.
I mean, you guys just look like a unit now. It's like you guys look like you know how you want to play. The passing plays come out. LJ gets his space. Hoxer's getting his space. You're getting your space at times. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. I thought you played pretty good today. I thought you guys all had your moments.
Maybe I'm pulling a little bit of a jack where,
yeah,
like I know how I could play. So maybe it didn't look that bad, but I know like when I could be playing better, like how much better it can affect the team. So maybe that's why. And yeah, but LJ had some fucking gross goals that series.
Oh,
like that,
bro, yeah.
That air dribble bump, like with that, like I know it's an air dribble bump, but that catch he had was like genuinely ridiculous.
Are you talking about against G2?
Yeah, against G2.
Yeah.
It's just LJ had some nasty goals. And then like Hawkshear was ever since he switched to Fennec, he's been a demon.
Yeah.
Not saying he was a demon before, but like he's been on another level ever since. But yeah, again, I think like I said, it's just it sucks to lose, but there's bigger goals in mind, and I'm excited.
What do you think about the OG series?
Yeah, I mean, SSG OG. I was very curious heading into this because like this means so much for SSG in this case since they won. Like this really, like I talked about it before. Like this tied SSG with Gen G. They are right there, second points now, and if they lose, they're in a much tougher spot, fighting for that 4th instead of the 2nd. So it's really good to see SSG really come out here and get this dub. I think overall it's a pretty good series. I mean, like Kago said, I mean. They all or like you said, Kep. Sorry, everyone kind of had their moments. I'm always looking at LJ's always hitting some crazy shots as well. But it was really good to see. And I got a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes we'll see timeouts as well, and we'll see teams kind of slow down. But then SSG come out and just get a 5-1 victory. And that was really nice to see. So good job to SSG to making it to the finals.
Well, I guess what do you think about OG, Reed? Because they beat Gen G. I mean, I guess the OG you played. Does that feel like the OG you watched yesterday?
Nah, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I wasn't like super locked into the Gen G series, but I think a lot of like RLCS now, which people don't realize, like a lot of it's matchup based, like how teams like fare off against each other. And I think OG is very good, but I think we've kind of figured them out. Now, obviously, it's like teams can adjust and figure out what to do next when a team's figured you out, and it's kind of like then the same thing for us with G2, like. We kind of slowly have figured them out, but at the end of the day, we haven't like completely figured out because we can't close out a series. So we have to realize what we need to do better to win those series. But I think OG's like very good, but I just think the way we play maybe doesn't really make them feel as comfortable as other series do.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, the matchups. That's how it's getting. I think the cool thing about what's happening now in Rocket League is, I think you kind of touched on this the other day, is how teams are the more you play against these Gen Gs and G2s and these top teams, and it's the same thing with EU. Teams are figuring them out, and they're starting to keep these series all close that felt like these teams never had a chance. Because now when you guys play G2 today, we see you guys lose 4-3, and you guys force game 7. And at one point, you guys were up 3-2, and you had a match point going into it. I mean, why is the gap closing on these teams?
I mean, this was literally almost, I think the Carbon Copy is our last game 7 loss to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, like when you play a team that's better than you, you have no choice to get better. Like you're not just going to fall over and die every time. So you learn and you get better at each series. You get more comfortable and figure out what they like to do or how they like to run their offense, their defense, and where you can, maybe find and snag some goals here and there. So yeah, you don't really have a choice but to get better with them. So I think that's what's been happening with all of NA. You're seeing teams like C9, us, like not just being a 2-team region. Obviously, Gen G and G2 are the best. Gen G and G2 are the top 2, but there's teams like pushing to try and move into that category as well.
Blitz, from an outsider POV, how do you feel about this G2 SFG series?
I mean, it was really good. I really wish that, I know Chicago feels the same way, that SSG closed it out. I want to see LJ get his first regional win. And I'm tired of seeing G2 win.
Yeah.
We're still at this point where they've only lost to Gen G in the grand finals, which I think we could very well see change in this last regional, considering how crazy this one was. But it was a good series. I mean, there's not too much I really have to say. I mean, it went to game 7. You know, like you said, SG was up 3-2, and then G2 just kind of came out swinging at 6 and 7. I wish game 7 was a little bit closer, but there's some great moments from both sides, and G2 ended up getting the dub.
Yeah, I thought that G2 series, it was good. You guys had a lot of good passing plays, Chicago, and I thought, God, the way you guys were playing, I really thought you guys were going to do it. It's just like that game, once it's game 7, and they went up, I think, 3 goals, like a quick minute and some in. It's just so fucking hard to bounce back, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they just made adjustments as well as like there's two sides to it. They made adjustments and we kind of stopped doing things we should have been doing better. But you know, like it's just like what the fuck are you gonna do? It's really hard to adjust in the moment. But I don't know. I think we were right there, and I think we can easily win. But again, it's at the end of the day, like it sucks. We'll get better. You learn from it. You don't have a choice but to learn from it.
I mean, you can't be mad about getting a fucking top 2, and like, dude, you guys are in such a good fucking spot. Proud. So I'm sure you guys are all like looking up in a positive note at the end of the day of this.
Yeah, for sure. Like we all want to win. Like we all think we're capable of winning. It's not like we had a fluke run where we're like, holy shit, we just did that. It's like, nah, like this like proved like to ourselves like we're getting better. Now it's time to keep getting better and like keep the gas on the pedal.
I mean, that's the things you got to do though. When you don't get paired up, last split we saw you guys get paired up 3 times against Gen G, and now this time you guys are finally getting some other teams, and you're just showing that you're dominant over them. You're not losing those close series. You know, you're pulling through, so that's huge. Do you fellas want to jump into some questions now?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure. I think we hop into it.
All right, fellas. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna do questions for about probably 15 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes. We're going to drag in one person if you want to ask us Rocket League related question about today, any teams that you have going on or any of that. Okay, fellas? So we are going to bring in a couple people, and then we will wrap up today's episode of the Quick Chat.
First, and most importantly, one question.
Yeah,
don't throw in a second. We'll kick you out.
One question. I'm going to bring in Debo.
You pick.
We bring in I don't know. Debo, what up, bro?
Yo, welcome.
Hello.
What you got for us, Debo?
All right, so I got a question. I was watching the CECC championship with AlphaKep and Ball State, and boys felt like no team could hold a lead with 2 goals. And I feel like with RLCS, once you get up 2 goals, I feel like the game's almost over. What's the difference between like those two?
I mean, as Flip plays in both.
So I was actually gonna. So I'm gonna say one thing. First, I talked to Woozy, who plays on Boise State, and he told me that he's been on qual matches for RLCS. He's had super intense series. He's never been as nervous as he has while playing on stage. So I think one thing that I want to talk about is first the jitters, right? I think playing on LAN stages in a LAN environment is very nerve-wracking. I've had the opportunity to do it twice, and I must say it's very different. You're not quite used to it as well. But I think one thing that I want to talk about, regardless online LAN or not, is when it comes to pro play, the pros have so much more experience and so much more composure. And that's something that I see where when I'm playing CRL, I'm going to be able to get away with a lot more mistakes because the opponents I'm playing aren't as composed. Whereas in pro play, if I'm playing like Moist or something, right, if I fuck up, it's going to be in my net.
So just consistency and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
That's like the big difference between CRL. CRL is starting to become more of like, it's competitive, but it's nowhere near pro level still. Like there's still good players, but
I will say there are just random pro teams going to very tough universities such as Fisher. So you know, but other than that, I mean, it's cool to see some pros in there, though. You know.
Hey, Debo, appreciate you.
Guys.
Thank you, man. All right, which one you got next? Who you want?
Bring in TV World. That's my boy.
Oh, fucking hell.
LeBron.
Oh, LeBron's gone.
He did not want to be here, bro.
Okay. Do you have another one?
Really, TV? It's fucked up.
That's crazy. You got nervous.
I don't know if I want to bring the guy named France in. I feel like that's bad.
That's scary. Pick him, dude. Look at his profile pic.
What about Big Chomp? Big Chomp.
Yep. Here we go.
What happened to TB though?
Yo, Big Chomp. What's up, brother?
Oh, yo, what's up?
What's up, man? What you got for us?
What's up, man?
Oh, yo, my fault,
No,
dude.
you're good, bro. One question. What you got for us?
Yo, Chicago. Thoughts on Game 7? All right. One thing you could change. What would it be?
Fuck. Game 7.
Game 7.
Ooh, I wish. Just probably like. I mean, one thing I could change. I wish I could have played better with the ball. I felt like
All right, fair. Yeah, no, fair enough. But like a specific thing, not like, oh, I could have played better. Like obviously,
A specific thing.
What could
Like,
y'all
do you mean?
changed in Game 7 looking back
I
on?
DC'd Daniel's like internet. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, headbutt Daniel. Could have been one.
Maybe
beat Austin,
maybe
get Sassy in.
maybe like approach or something like that. Do you think you like approach
I
to
think-
fine or?
I mean, a lot. Like, I think I don't really remember the Game 7 like too much. It just happened. I would have to look at it back. But give me like just better probably physicality. I think with G2, like a lot of success comes with like trying to remove one of them because they're so good. But if you like take one of them out of the play, then it makes them a lot less threatening, as well as like they have to give you the ball a little bit more or give you more respect because they're a man down. So I haven't looked at the replays yet, but I'll probably just say like an easy answer is always like been more physical, catch them off guard, try and like disturb their rotations.
yeah. All right, fair enough. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in, Chomp.
In the old replay review, I like it.
Hey, how it going, OG?
Dude is
Damn,
so
he's
loud.
got kickers like that.
Yeah, I told you, bro. I'm quick, Kep. You're too slow.
All right, I like that.
Also, TB
He's
said
back.
he's sorry that he DC'd.
He's back in the chords, so
All right.
Here, I'll do that on my pick. Okay,
Oh, it's
never
already
mind.
in.
Welcome, TB.
TB, what up?
Welcome, bro.
what up, bro?
Damn, TB, you selling this shit, bro.
Hey.
Yo.
Not bad.
You
Let
good?
me mute
What up? What do you
Twitch.
got for us? TB, you selling it. Damn, turn off the stream, bro. You're
All right,
selling
all right,
again.
all right. I'm good.
All right.
My bad. All right. So my question was, so we all know M80 is just not being a Swiss merchant allegations.
Yeah.
So, as pros and former pros, what do you think is the solution for them to get over the hump again? Because it's obviously not talent, and we all know it's mental. And I know they hear and see people talking about their Swiss merchants because the broadcasters talk about it all the time.
Mhm.
What do you think is a good solution for finally getting over that hump?
Blow it up. Blow it the fuck up. Restart.
That actually
Yeah.
solution?
That's my solution.
Okay,
Make a
that's
new
your
fucking team.
Damn.
5 in a
Alright.
row. Yeah, you're is that wrong?
It's look.
Okay, yeah, but like they have a regional left, so like what's the real like you can't just blow up a team before, so like if you're their coach.
Oh,
Kat,
you're
what
saying
are
going
you
into the
doing?
last event. I was talking.
Yeah,
I was
so like
thinking,
they're still in major contention, right? So like let's like focus, like they're not splitting up, they're not blowing up. the team for the last regional.
move to SSA. Okay.
that's not an
Like
option.
what are you
That's
if you're
crazy.
their coach, like I think like another way to say is if you're their coach, what are you saying or what are you trying to fix that helps them perform in the top 8? What are you trying to do? What do you think your approach is?
I'll let Flitz take that one over because I don't know.
This one is tough because this regional, this Cloud9 matchup, I think is the best matchup that they've had. They beat Cloud9 2 times heading into this. This was their time to finally beat the allegations, and they got their dick kicked in the dirt, man. I really don't know. I wish I usually have some sort of take or answer on this. I really wish I had a clear answer because they've had 5 different chances now, and this was their best chance yet. And I think it has to be in their heads, right? It has to be going through all their heads. Like you said it yourself. Stacks literally said on the main chat, like, this just in, the Swiss merchants have beat G2 to go 3-0. Stacks literally said that.
It's like a meme.
It's so bad. I wish I had a better answer, but honestly, Kep might be right, bro. You might just have to rebuild, bro.
I mean, I think it's chalk,
it's
bro.
tough.
It's chalk.
I agree. I think they're past the point of no return. I mean, this last regional, they really have no other chance. If they don't beat the allegations this last regional, they have no
I mean,
chance
it's
to
too
major.
late,
The
bro. It doesn't
season's
even
over.
fucking matter. At this point, like
They can
the
still make major though.
The
That's
season's
the thing.
over, bro. They can
But
still.
it's not. If they can make this major, if they get a top 4 and OG and Cloud9 both go out top 8, they'll probably play one. They could very well play one of those teams to make it. If I'm not mistaken, that'll put them above them, and that'll make it their major, and then they can make worlds. But at this, I will say it's very close to being over. It's a good question, and I wish I had a better answer. But I'm kind of like Kep. Maybe we blow it up. I don't know.
I saw a tweet the other day, TV World. Biggest fumble team of all time or something like that. Fraud team. That's where I'm going to end it off. Appreciate you, TV. Thanks for coming on,
Thank
bro.
you. That's a good question. Thank you for coming on, brother.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not trying to be too hard on M80 guys, but
Yeah, I like M80. I like all 3 of their players. I like Nick. He's a friend of mine, but I love all of them. But man, it's fucking tough, bro.
you can't beat
especially
G2 and Gen G and then lose again and again.
Especially, yeah, going from like not only did they beat them as well, like they kind of kicked their. No, G2 was game 5, but they kicked Gen G's ass,
3-0.
bro. yeah, they kick Gen G's ass, and then they go into against Cloud9, who's a much weaker team than both of them, and then they're not able to take it.
All right.
Also, I forgot TB has the deepest voice of all time.
Yeah,
dude.
he
Holy
does.
shit.
All right, let's bring in a couple more people. We'll each bring in one more person,
Yeah.
right?
Can I get a pick?
Go for it.
TB
Go
was
for
like
it.
Kaga's pick, basically.
for it.
Let's do. Oh God, is he TKO? I don't want to pick him. Let's do Jaspool.
Jaspool, do it. I don't even know if I can. Okay, there we go. Jaspool, how's it going, man?
Yo,
What do you got for us,
welcome,
bro?
welcome.
thanks for having me, fellas.
Hell yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I wanted to ask if you guys could each think of like a Streets Won't Forget type player.
Streets won't forget.
Streets won't forget.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that? I don't want to mess up my pick.
What
I think I know
sport,
what you mean, but can you
Are
elaborate?
you saying like basketball, basically, like the streets won't forget? Can you give us an example? Like, who won't the streets forget?
I'm not the biggest basketball fan.
Okay, like what
I know others-
sport?
yeah,
You
what's-
have a sport,
Yeah, I mean,
like, you said
Sipicle's a
this?
good shout. That's a
guess
good
that
one.
was probably good. Are you saying like an OG kind of?
Yeah, like someone who isn't like super talked about or had like a super
okay.
successful career, but that was like Mechie or creative or something.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I mean, first one. Okay, I got one. I'm going. The first one that really caught my eye that I still talked about today, even Devo. Motherfucker was insane at double touches. He was ahead of the game, and he set the fucking floor for people in the future. That's mine. I like that
That's a
one.
good one.
What do you guys
That
got?
is really good.
I like that one. I like that one. Yeah.
That is really good.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm trying to think of someone that's like, not successful. It's like,
I mean, just do who paved the road before others. Like
You
who's
can
someone that
do.
you're
I feel
oh.
like okay.
Or I mean,
like not successful is part
Okay.
of like they're very good, but their career didn't show like the
Yeah.
results didn't show.
Okay, I know someone kind of said this in chat, but I feel like Sipicle's such a good shout solely for the fact that he disappeared from the face of the earth. No one knows where he is. No one, dude. Like he did a lot and then just kind of like dipped. Like he was still really good when he quit. So I don't know. I don't know if that counts.
I mean, he made
but
a
to
lot of.
me, it
He made
counts.
grand finals at majors. They made a bunch of top fours. SSG, they were dominant. I don't think it's a bad shout.
and he was still really good. And then guess what? He just freaking disappeared. And I feel like the streets won't forget that. I don't know. I don't know if that
Reed,
counts.
who do you
but-
got?
I think mine is a current player. I think mine is probably Aqua. I think Aqua,
Ooh.
Aqua and Justin, or no, Aqua and Daniel were the two that came up together.
Yeah,
Daniel
like
was
that.
ahead of him. Let's not twist it. Daniel
Yeah.
was better, but Aqua's like, and playing against him, like I would not say this if he wasn't as gross as he is. His mechanics are still top of like the tier, like S tier NA, and like
Yeah,
what he
I agree.
can do with the ball. But obviously, like his grind for the game, he didn't really care, so it's not really anybody's like fault but his.
Yeah.
But Aqua, like if Aqua had the drive that, maybe a Daniel or Beast Mode or like First Killer had, he would be on a top team, most likely, and have been competing at majors for like a year or two now. And if
Hey.
he was a good teammate and all that stuff. But
Jaspool, that was probably my favorite
That was a-
question we've had so
That
far.
was a great question.
That was a good
man.
one,
Thank
bro.
you, bro.
Thanks for
fellas.
stopping
Congrats,
on, brother.
Doggo.
Appreciate it, man.
appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Mhm. See,
All right.
he didn't congratulate us, Cap. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but
All right. We each have, or I have. Anyone? Do I have one and someone else has one?
yeah, it's
Let's
you.
take my last one because I took two. So
Let's just do one each for starting now, right?
All right.
I think
I'll
that's fine.
bring in Obs. I'll bring in Obs. Can I even go down this far? I can't even bring this guy in because the list is so fucking long.
Uh,
I'm in a really weird spot right now, fellas.
dude,
try-
yeah, you can no, drag it and then like
Mine.
hold it towards the bottom. It'll auto scroll. Oh, stop trying to line it up. Just like grab.
hey, welcome.
What up,
Bobs.
Obs? How's it going, man?
Outside.
Yo, can y'all
Yo,
go?
what do you got for us,
One
Obs?
question. What you got?
Absolutely. Yo, Kago, first off, congrats. Hey, it might not be the exact thing that you want to see, but it's still a crazy good performance. Actually, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say Johnnyboi a pussy.
Okay, wow. I am not associated with that.
Oh my fucking
insane.
god! Where the
That's
fuck
insane.
did that just come from? Oh my fuck, dog!
That's nuts, bro.
All right, Johnny and Kep's war is officially on. Got it.
I have
Wow.
nothing against it, bro.
Dr.
I don't know
Kep
what the
hates
fuck that
Johnny.
was.
Wow,
Like
Kep's
and
viewers
retweet.
calling
What
Johnny
the
a pussy.
fuck?
Wow, Kep, okay, I didn't know you.
Wow.
Oh my god, bro! That was the most random fucking thing I've ever seen.
That is insane. Are we
Oh.
counting that as a Cap pick? Or do you
Oh,
want another one?
all right. Someone else.
So normal as
Holy
well.
Do you want
shit.
another one, or you want to skip?
I should not be laughing. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. I just didn't expect it. Did that throw you guys off?
Yeah, mod that
Yeah,
guy.
for sure.
Give him
on.
on. Give him on.
Normal. It was so normal. He's like, Yeah, actually, I don't have a question. Fuck Johnny.
And then he left too. I didn't disconnect him, bro. He got out.
Holy shit. Okay.
That was insane.
All right. Read who you got. Then we'll do Flitz.
Okay, sure.
There's so many people.
So many people, bro.
Yeah, this is the most we've ever had.
Chili Willy.
Good pick.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Chili Willy 013.
Oh, I fucked up. Here we go. Chili, what up, man? Chili?
Yo.
What's up, man? Yeah, we can hear you, bro. What you got? What you got?
Yo. So what I got? So obviously we've seen teams like LG, now KARMINE CORP, and everything not make top 8. Do we see a lot more of organizations leaving Rocket League within the next year? So like North America has like 10 teams or something right now. Like, do we see next year them only have like 5 or 6 orgs, and it's just a lot more open teams, or what y'all think?
So I think it kind of depends on what they have going on this offseason, right? Because as of right now, what people believe is that the season's going to start at the start of the year again, right? So January 2025 is when the next season starts. For a player like me, my season ends in 2 weeks, right? For teams like, a big org like Moist, right? Realistically, Moist probably won't make the major. So if they don't make the major and they don't have Gamers 8 or anything, they have nothing to plan for 6 months.
Yeah.
For 6 months, which means the orgs will probably leave. So I think it kind of depends on how many off-season events there are as well.
Yeah. I think teams like M80 are probably going to leave because the issue is when you pay some of these teams and these imports and stuff big salaries, and then the offseason comes around, you're not going to want to pay these guys for 6 months. It's better just to fucking say, hey, we'll come back to it a month before the season, sign a good team, put them together. So I think you're probably going to see a lot of teams leave, but you'll probably see them rejoin. So I wouldn't be too concerned as of now.
Yeah, I think one thing as well is there's still a lot of orgs that people don't realize are still trying to get in. I've talked about it before, but Virtus Pro is very close to joining the scene. They're a very big org in CS. I'd love to see them in Rocket League. So I think even if some big orgs leave, there'll still be some that fill the shoes. I hope what happens is they make a few changes to the format and a few changes to maybe some outside of RLCS events, which will cause more orgs to join. So I'm hopeful that it's more in the future.
For sure.
You got one?
Y'all got it. Y'all covered it pretty well.
All right. Hey, bro.
Hey, good stuff today, Chicago.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for coming on, Chili.
Thank you, Chili.
Have a good one.
Got his gold medals right there.
I do not owe you shit! I do not!